Alright guys, before I get into what I want to say today, I need you to like and subscribe to this video so I can rank a little better. Just go ahead and like and subscribe. It don't take nothing. You don't lose anything. Just help me out and hit those buttons. Thank you. Yo, what's going on? So, another kind of, I guess this is more of like a reflection kind of thing, but today I want to talk to you guys about the journey so far. So, I've been a developer for 5 months, and I'm learning every day. I mean, I made a great transition. I'm gonna get extended the offer to be an official employee and not a contractor at Lidos, so that's looking good. And I learned a shit ton of Angular. Initially, when I went in, I was a Java developer, and to be honest, I wasn't too confident in my abilities at the time. I mean, I knew enough to talk about stuff, and I could think about things strategically, but I was like, when it came down to writing actual code, I was still a little iffy. But I was a great problem solver, so if you threw a problem in front of me, I could at least work that the algorithm stuff out. It was just actually putting everything together and doing the actual full stack product that I was uneasy about. However, since I've been at my job, I've been doing primarily Angular, which is JavaScript, and I didn't know the first thing about JavaScript outside of basic, JSON and stuff like that. So I had a decent learning curve in the beginning. I'll say I waited about 2 weeks before I really just started jumping in and trying to get my hands into a project, because I feel like learning is really the best way. Well, I'm sorry, doing is the best way to really learn something. I mean, you can sit in classes, you can talk about theory all day, but until you get in and touch it, you won't really take away that much from anything, whether it's coding or anything else in life, or any other aspect of work or whatever. So that's just a big point that I want to stress for anybody who's on a path, whether they're transitioning into code or transitioning into another career or just learning something new. Just do, learn a little bit and just do as much as you can with that little bit of knowledge that you have. If you have to account for big gaps in knowledge, it'll make you more creative, and that's always a desired trait in an engineer, in a marketer, in even in business, honestly. Being creative with business and helping people do things in different ways, in new ways possibly. But I just think that doing from an early point in your journey helps reinforce the fundamentals, and you can take that really, really far. So I've been getting a few questions a bit about my specific path, about, hey, how did you know when you were ready? And as I said before, when I got my job, I was uncomfortable. So I don't think you'll ever really know that you're ready. It's just that you're gonna have to find a company that's willing to take a chance on you, and then of course you have to prove yourself. But if you're really hungry and you're really trying to make a transition, or you're trying to get that job, then you'll do it. I'll say if you're going into software and you're new, and don't try to learn every language out there. Learn one language, and just do as much as you can with it. Whether it's Python, whether it's Java, JavaScript, Go, any of those other languages out there, C++, all that kind of stuff, whatever it is, just stick with what you know and just become a pro at it. Because what's going to happen is you don't want to learn all those different languages anyway, because you have no idea what company is going to hire you, and when you get hired, you don't know what languages they use, at least not until you go into for an interview, or you look at the job description. And most companies are aware that, hey, you might have to learn a new language when you come here. So what you're really being evaluated for is your ability to learn and apply new things. So whether you're a self-taught developer or you're coming from university, What they really want to see is your skills. So can you solve a problem? Can you think outside the box? And do you at least know the basics? Outside of that, you're going to learn everything else on the job. You know, I didn't really know too much about doing REST calls and things like that, or even front end in general. I had no idea about the front end side of things because I used Django, which at the time when I was learning Python, it didn't stick, so I didn't know front end. And when I got the job, I knew Java. I didn't even take my Java certification yet, but I was just like, hey, I know Java. I finished this course in Udemy. I have this project on my GitHub. I have a few projects on my GitHub, actually. I had maybe like 2 or 3 projects, and they weren't even big projects. They were just basic applications of what I knew, and they were just classes that I created when I was taking my course. And of course, I just took that and extended it to something I thought that was useful. I just had a basic command line project that just took, you know, whatever you type in and just did something with it. It was a bank account. So it was very simple, but it proved that I knew enough to prove the fundamentals. So yeah, I mean, you'll never really know when exactly you're ready. It's just somebody's just gonna pull you in, you're gonna get in that interview, and you're gonna kill it, and you're gonna get an offer. So I would say if you're thinking about getting the job, and maybe if you're already kind of out there and you feel like you're not doing enough, just keep doing projects, and just keep applying, and make sure that you're updating your resume. Like if you have your resume out for a few weeks and you get no hits, update your resume, update your LinkedIn, start getting active on those networking sites, especially LinkedIn. If you're doing a new project, post it on LinkedIn. If you're having updates on your project, you know, if you have any updates, you make a new push on GitHub, update that on your LinkedIn. Like, let those recruiters know that, hey, I'm learning, I'm out here, and I'm trying to get better. And somebody's gonna see that and say, hey, I want this person because they're proving themselves. They don't know a lot, but they're proving that they're hardworking. Because what every job wants is a self-starter. So no matter what industry you go in, they want a self-starter. So as long as you can prove that, you can get the job. You can even miss questions on a coding interview and get the job. I was lucky enough that when I interviewed for my job, that they didn't have a coding interview, but I was ready for it if it was to be a factor. So that's just a few things to keep in mind in terms of that. And again, stick to one language. Do not try to learn everything at once. If you started with front end, stick to front end, at least until you get the job, or at least until you're comfortable enough that you say, hey, I know enough to do a project. I've been doing things with this on the front end. I want to get into the back end so I can go full stack. Then cool, you know, go ahead and prove yourself. But just make sure that whatever you are using on the front end, whatever language you're still using that same language or something of the same stack in the back end, because you don't want to lose the knowledge that you've just acquired from doing front end work. So that's just my 2 cents on the topic. And for anybody else that's out there, whether you know you're on the fence about career change, you're starting something new, you're out here as a developer, just keep going, keep applying that pressure, and you know, success waits for nobody. Well, that's not a thing, but time waits for nobody. There we go. If you're not happy, if you're just interested, you know, if your brain's out there and you're like, hey, you know, I wonder what this is like, take advantage of, you know, being able to switch careers and do new things while you're young, because eventually you might have a family, or you might be in a career where you can't just get out because you've already put so much into it. You might have moved out of state. You might already be, you know, extremely independent or racked up debt, you know, especially if you bought a house. So take advantage of your youth and use that as your weapon moving forward. So that's all I have for today. I just wanted to get a few things out of my head and to you guys. So there we go. Oh, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.